today talking about the grammar lesson, which actually starts on page 79 and goes on to page 80. So that's where we're looking today, because you've already started to study the vocabulary and the other memory work. Okay, so first off, what is an adjective, or what does an adjective do? An adjective describes, or we could say modifies, a what type of speech? It describes or modifies a noun. And you guys probably even have a song helping you remember that from your grammar, either this year or years before, that I don't know. But think of your regular grammar would help you out with this Latin grammar, because it's going to be a lot of review. Now, an adjective can answer one of three questions. And I know you have a song for this because the current sixth graders sang, actually no, it was this year. They sang this song for me, so it definitely exists. I just don't know it. So it answers three questions. What kind might be something an adjective answers? Or it might answer the question, which one? Or it might answer the question, how many? So, for example, if we say he is a big boy, est puer magnus, he is a big boy, which one of these three questions are we answering? We're answering what kind of boy is he? He's a magnus boy, a big boy. All right, as opposed to a little tiny kindergartner, which are so cute. All right, now we can also do how many. Sunt duo equi. There are two horses. That answers the question, how many? Which one is going to help us narrow down the options? Which girl is the one you need to talk to? Oh, the one in the yellow shirt. Okay? So, or which dog is it? The brown spotted one. That answers the question, which one? So, that's all we need to know about in terms of the English grammar side of things. And like I said, this should all be review for you guys. You've had this. This is easy. Easy peasy. Okay, so in Latin, gets a little bit different approach. So all of this still applies. But Latin, because we change our endings on our nouns all the time to show what its job is in the sentence, we also have to change endings on adjectives. And the rule is adjective endings must agree, that means they must have the same, and I promise I'll explain this better. Adjectives must agree, I added an E on the end of with, all right, with the noun they modify in three different ways. And these three are really important. They will show up on your test, and even if they weren't on a test, you would want to know, because this is the only way that you would be able to make Latin sentences that sound correct using adjectives. It would sound all messed up and strange and weird. Okay? So, adjectives must agree with the nouns they modify in case, number, and gender. Okay, so these are the three things. What three ways must a noun and adjective agree? In case, number, and gender. Now, for the moment, that's usually going to mean that they also have the same matching ending, but that's not the rule. The rule is not that their endings have to be the same, because eventually we'll learn exceptions where that's not the case. But they must agree in case, number, and gender. So let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. So if I have the noun that you have learned, we will do Germanus. And I want to say that that brother is a small brother. So he's a little guy. Okay? Germanus. Where is our us ending in our chart? Declining, we will go with us, e-o, o, e, orum, is, os, is. Well, the only spot, hold on, let me write the bare bones of our chart here. The only spot that that us ending shows up is in the nominative spot. Us, e-o, o. So we know that we need the nominative ending for our adjective also, because it must agree. Now, that's the gender. Or, I'm sorry, that's the case. What am I saying? All right. What's the number? The number is going to be which column is it in? Is it singular or is it plural? It was in the singular column, so we know we need that ending for our adjective to also be singular. And then finally, what gender is Germanus? It means brother, so it's masculine. So we also need to be looking at the set of masculine endings. Now, here's the trick that's going to help you out with this whole gender thing. For adjectives, your first declension endings, I, is, as, is, those endings. For adjectives, they are feminine endings. Okay, so if it's got the A, if it's in the chart with the A, it's feminine, which you're kind of used to because you've learned Germanus is brother, but Germana would be feminine, right? Okay, so A's are feminine. If it comes from the chart that starts with us, declining, we will go with us, e-o, o, e, orum, is, os, is. Any of the endings from that are masculine endings. And then finally we have our neuter endings, which we actually learned and we called them neuter. So we have, oh, I forgot the tune to it. Oh, e-o, o are neuter singular, orum, is are neuter plural. Okay, so those would be our neuter endings. So for Germanus, we figured out we need a nominative singular masculine ending, because that's what we have right here. Us is our nominative singular masculine ending. So if I take the word parvus, and this is going to work out pretty nice and easy, I need to make sure that I think of our masculine set of endings, declining, we will go, and I use the nominative singular ending, which is going to be right here. And it is still us, it's the same. So, Germanus parvus is showing us how the noun and the adjective agree in case, number, and gender. Now, again, the endings match, but let me show you when they don't. What's the word for boy in Latin? Puer. Correct. So puer means the boy, which is our nominative singular masculine form. So we've still got all of these things checked, because that's the first one we would go puer, pueri, puero, puerum, puero, and so on. So right up here, nominative singular masculine, but the word ends in ER. But our adjective endings don't have ER, ever. So we have to stick with us, because we need to look at our declining, we will go. We have to look at that chart and use the nominative singular masculine ending. So we have puer parvus. All right? Let me break it down for you another way. Basically, what we are doing is whenever we have a noun, the adjective that goes with it, we need to make sure that the endings that are on those words are in the exact same spot in the chart. All right? So let's do a first declension noun. So let's just do puella. All right? But I don't want to say just the girl. I want to say 2 or 4 the girls, which is going to be puelai, right? Okay, so we have puelai in this spot in the chart. Okay, so that's the form of girls that I want to use. Now, when I say all of this, case, number, gender, all I'm doing is using words to describe where this shows up in the chart. So, case, it's in the dative row. Number, it's in the singular column. Gender, which chart are we looking at? Puelai is a feminine word. Okay? So, and this means to the girl. Or for the girl. All right. Now, let's say I want to describe that girl. We're going to say she's very truthful. We're going to say she's the true girl, which is a little weird. I don't like the adjectives they chose to give you here because there's very few that can describe people, but that's okay. So, we're going to use true, which your book lists as verus, vera, verum. Okay? So can you look at those three words and where are the endings? Us is an ending, is an ending, and is an ending. All right? So that means whatever we're attaching our endings onto is right here, ver. All right. Now, we're not going to say puelai verus. Why? Two reasons. One, because this is masculine. Right? Us, io, umo, that comes from our masculine set of endings. Two, this is a nominative ending, because that would be right here in our chart. So it's in a different spot in the chart. And it's a completely different chart. So we're not going to use verus at all. Now, vera is getting pretty close because it's got the a, so that tells us it's feminine. So this is going to be the one we're going to base our endings on. And would be our neuter because it's got the on there. So vera, though, is still giving us that nominative form because we have I, and so on. So what we need to do is we need to find the ending that shows up in the same spot as where we found the ending for puelai. So we're looking still in dative, singular, and we're making sure it's feminine. So we have verai puelai, to the true girl. We don't say to the girl, it's just to the true girl. This ending just helps us know it's attached to this word. Okay? Now, here's the good news. You do not have to be able to do all of this yet. This is explaining to you how it works so that it starts planting those seeds in your brain so eventually you'll be able to make it work. For now, you need to relearn this rule. Adjectives must agree with the noun they modify in case, number, and gender. And then you need to know your English rules about adjectives and how those work. All right? So, this is what this rule is saying. It's talking about how the endings have to match. They have to show up in the same place in the correct chart. But in terms of what you need to really get solid in your head right now, you need to memorize this. Adjectives must agree with the noun they modify in case, number, and gender. All right? Send me any questions if you have them. I'll look forward to seeing you back in person soon. Walete.